All right, man. Talk to talk. Hey, how y'all doing? Hope everybody's good. System was down, man. Sorry that the 12 o'clock episode didn't come out. It's coming out now because trying to get the system activated. I don't know if it was a power outage in my area, but for some reason I couldn't go on YouTube. I couldn't do anything. But I'm here now. You know what I'm saying? Finally, everything's back up and running. Hopefully, it don't go off while I'm doing this in the middle of it. But yeah, today's episode, I gotta say this, man. I think that this is something that a lot of people probably uh, want to say, but Joe Budden's a coward. He's a coward, and he is what I call now uh, Captain America, because he's always capping. He's Captain America, and him in the Captain Avengers or the Cap Avengers. You know what I mean? The Joe Budden podcast, the Cap Avengers, and him being Captain America. You know what I'm saying? So we're gonna get into that. Before we get into that, I gotta get a legendary spill. This is Torture Talk. If you like the content, please consider subscribing. If you're new here, let me work for your subscription today. All the beautiful, single, sexy ladies, put one in the chat. All the fellas, y'all know where to find the ones at. Just don't harass them. I don't sell no merch, but I do have content, absolutely free. But if you want to leave a donation, link is in the description. Cash App, no more PayPal. They call me the Hidden Gem. 1,300 subscribers, over 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, almost 18,000, 25,000. I will be giving away a nice size cash prize. And I am the King of the North. Let me know what kingdom you are from. Night King in the building. So look, man, you already know what it is. So let's get to it. Let's do it. All right, man, this comes courtesy of Flacco. So let's go.
The Joe Budden podcast just pissed off their entire fan base after a recent segment on today's episode. There's been a pretty recurrent and consistent complaint when it comes to the fans about the Joe Budden podcast. That complaint has been that the Joe Budden podcast don't really touch on anything involving Jay-Z. If Jay-Z is in some controversy, in some drama, they don't touch it. The only time you will really see them.
Well, I'll put it to you like this. There's one thing I notice about Joe is he loves to protect people that he think is a threat to him or a threat to his existence. You know what I'm saying? I noticed he did that with Puff for a second, but he kind of like got around that. And then he doing the same thing with Jay-Z. But he did that for a while. Everybody knows, and this is why I say Joe Budden was one of the most outspoken media personalities in the history of this whole space. It's the reason why they call him the godfather of podcasting, because of the hip hop podcasting, because this is what he does. My issue with Joe is he pick and choose a lot. Now, granted, people might say, well, he don't want to mess with whatever relationships he had, but you got to do a job, bro. And Joe used to do that. He didn't care. He wasn't PC. He is very, very, very PC now. All of them are, to be honest with you. Very PC. And this is before Lamont came on the show. They was like this.
Touch anything concerning Jay-Z and Rock Nation is if they believe they have enough to defend Jay-Z. If it's some type of drama or accusation that Jay-Z is dealing with and they believe is BS, and the public opinion is, this is BS, they would jump on it to defend Jay-Z. But anything else, they won't speak on it. And that's the case with the recent news cycle with this Rock Nation and Desiree Perez thing. Desiree Perez's daughter sued her for doing some pretty shicey things to her. And then Rock Nation proceeded to copyright strike and get small creators' Instagram and Twitter pages taken down. I would think that Joe Budden, who made his entire career on speaking up against the infrastructure and speaking up for little content creators, I would think that would be something that Joe Budden would touch on. They never touched on it. All the other time they've done this, the fans sort of complained and forgot about it. This time around, the fan complaints was so loud that they were forced to address it on the podcast. People were.
Now, I did see that. a lot of people were complaining that he always dodging questions when it come to Jay or whatever, whoever else. And I'm not trying to get my channel deleted, and I'm gonna explain why I don't really touch too much on that topic, because I do see people saying creators are getting their channel copyright striked or deleted and off of them speaking on something. And I just think that that's kind of crazy that that's happening, but that's what people are saying is happening. But I think that Joe, let's keep it going. We're gonna talk.
Because at some point it feels like, okay, like our favorite podcast is compromised, man. So fans were loud enough, it forced them to address it. And when they addressed it, it only made things worse. Because I feel like the conversation they was having was super disingenuous.
You've been one of the guys that gone against the machine, and then now they're saying, no, not now they're saying, as you being the person that did it, now they're saying that we up here may be afraid to speak on Rock Nation and the things that's talked about that's going surrounding it. What is your outlook on that?
Queen's Flip being autistically innocent is the only reason why we got this segment today. Queen's Flip don't know no better. He don't understand. The conversation he's trying to have is a very dangerous one for him. Now, Joe Budden and Mark Lamont Hill and everybody else, they are a tad bit more astute, a tad bit more, I don't know, corrupted. So when Queen Flip brings this up as kind of like that innocent child, you could see the sharks go to work almost immediately, bruh. All right? Almost.
That's true. That's true. I like Queen's Flip. I met Queen's Flip a couple of times. I like Queen's Flip. I think that Queen's Flip does put things in perspective that I think Joe and a bunch of people are afraid to say. You know what I'm saying? And Queen's Flip just puts it out there. He always sets the table, from what I see, a lot. And a lot of people, they don't like that, especially Joe. Joe and Queen got into a heated debate a couple of times because I think Joe looks at things from a different perspective. And, you know, well, we'll see. Let's keep it going.
I'm on the same type of time you on. So, meaning that I don't speak on if I have a relationship. Me, I can identify. If I have a relationship with somebody, I'm not speaking on it because I don't want to. Right. Regardless of how egregious it may come off, I'm not going to speak on it because I respect my relationship.
I saw Axe say that. I didn't see nobody else.
A couple people.
This is one of my tricks, bro. Shout out to Joe, man. You can't hate the player, man. Gotta hate the game, okay? Not the player. When I don't want to talk about something, I act like it's completely irrelevant, bro. What? Who said it, huh? Bro, I ain't hear that. I think only one person said it somewhere, bro. Joe knows this conversation extended beyond DJ Academics. Joe knows his entire Twitter community was talking about this. But Joe is trying to let Queen's Flip know the soft way, bro. Relax, bro. We can't talk about them. What are you doing? But
that's a fact. That's a fact. I'm telling you, this is a tactic that Joe does. Joe, you literally are the biggest podcaster. You're telling me that you didn't see anything about this story. You didn't see anything about it. Like, come on, bro.
Once Queen's Flip broached the subject, now the other host, who probably don't know no better, the next one who I think is also autistically innocent, is Ice. Ice really took away the go-to move, which is, this is irrelevant. I've never heard about this from Joe. Because Ice then reiterated what Queen's Flip said and also said, bro, Joe, like, this has been a recurring theme. I've seen it all this week. How did you not see it? So once it becomes almost impossible to avoid, then they began to have the conversation with just a bunch of deflection.
I'm gonna be honest, I saw it was people tagging posts before he posted that. Like, yo, y'all not gonna talk about this? I saw it.
There was specific topics that they feel like we avoided.
Yes. Rock Nation.
And I just want to hear from you how you look at that, Joe.
It's a good question. You know, maybe I'd be far removed from my brain be so different from what the internet is saying.
We don't know.
In my brain,
Joe, cut it out, Joe. Joe, oh my God, I never seen so much capping. This guy, Joe, bro, I love Joe Buttons. Don't get me wrong. I'm kind of being like him right now. I love Joe Buttons. But he be capping, bro. Oh my God. He capped for Drake. He caps to the point where it's kind of like if he makes it, if he says something different, then he looks even more like a fool. But bro, you capping. You be so far removed from the internet. Come on, Joe. You just did an episode about people talking about you sitting behind Fat Joe. Like, oh my God, bro.
Desiree's story broke while we were still recording, to me.
Yes.
At this point, I would respect the podcast more if they just said, hey, listen, man, we can't speak on it, bro, because we don't want no smoke. But speaking in circles and giving excuses in circles, to me, is just crazy, right? That doesn't make sense. The Joe Budden podcast filmed multiple episodes a week, Patreons, YouTube. It doesn't make sense. If you wanted to speak on it, you would speak on it, bro. There's been discussions and subjects that broke where you guys literally, like, this will break, let's say, the last day of filming this week, and y'all will speak on it the following week. So for you guys to say, oh, we didn't speak on it because it happened the last time we were filming, cut it out, bro. Cut it out. It's nonsense. It's nonsense. Now, it went from...
Yeah, I totally call cap on that. There's no way in the world, Joe, you acting like oh, we were recording. Man, if it was that important or whatever, maybe it ain't that important. But if it was, y'all would have did it the next day. I swear up and down, y'all did some things like that before, where people did something and y'all came and recorded like an emergency episode. Like, come on, Joe, you can't be serious, bro. You can't be serious.
I guess, it became pretty evident that excuse wouldn't cut it. Then they jumped to the next excuse of, hey, listen, man, I don't speak on people and their kids' drama, which is clearly not true because Joe gets called out by ICE, who gave an example of Joe Budden speaking on people and their kids' drama. And then Joe gets upset because he feels like ICE was chasing a gotcha moment.
That's Hove's company, and I do have a certain respect for him.
There we go.
I don't have a relationship with Desiree. I've never met Desiree. I don't have any equity there.
Okay.
So she's in the news now in a story that I'm sure we'll get to at some point. But that story just broke.
But why? But why? But Joe,
even that, I do have a certain type. Pardon me, Mark. A certain type of sensitivity to speaking about any story with anybody's children.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
But get the fuck out of here, Joe. Get up out of here, bro. That's cap, bro. Again, this is Captain America we dealing with. That is cap. Like, come on, bro. You are a coward, bro. Let's be clear. You're a coward, bro. You scared to say something about it. That's cap, bro. What? Oh, my God, bro. Come on.
I was going to say, like, why would you report
I want to be very clear on that. That's not a Rock Nation thing. Anybody story that include their kids and how they going about parenting or not parenting, I let that play out. I don't rush to get to that.
I can't let you do that.
Do it.
We ain't do that with Brian McKnight kids.
Stop it.
You didn't.
Stop it.
That is the truth, my nigga.
Do you have another example?
I'm just giving you an example. You said any story with anybody's kids, you just let it play out. And we did not do that.
He got you, Joe. He got you. There's nothing you could say, bro. He got you. You, bro, you asking for another example is like you moving the goalposts. You said that you don't talk on people's kids. He brought up an example where you talk on people's kids. This is not a hierarchy of talking about people's kids. Either you do or you don't, bro. And what he do, he brought it up, and what you do, you move the goalposts. We'll bring up another example. Why? Why do I have to bring up another example? You said you don't talk on people's kids, and you actually did. I'm proving it to you now.
Nice. And rest in peace.
Brian McKnight, we'll get to later. I hate when y'all do that, when we making like a profound point and y'all bring up something that's just ass cheek stupid. Brian McKnight denied kids.
Bro. How you gonna say that your co-host is bringing up something that's ass cheek stupid when you literally said you don't speak on people's kids? Whatever happened with Brian McKnight and his kids, whether he denied the kids or not, it's still a point of that was his kids and you spoke on it, bro. Simple as that. Like, I just don't understand your position. Like, bro, he got you, bro. He got you.
And wanted nothing to do with his kids. I have a stance on that.
Dog,
I'm just telling you where I stand. I have a loud stance on people that want absolutely zero to do with their kids.
Brian McKnight.
But Joe, you said you don't speak on people and their kids. Then you turn around and said you had a stance on Brian McKnight and him not claiming his kids. That's still you speaking on somebody with their kid. Oh my God, bro. I'm telling you, some of these people, they be too smart for their own good. They talk themselves into guilt, bro. Like, I'm being serious. You speaking on Brian McKnight, whether he denied or whatever his kids, you giving your opinion about a man who potentially or whatever have children. I just don't understand it.
Will argue that it's more complicated than that. I'm not defending Brian McKnight because I think his son just died of cancer, and apparently they didn't reconcile before the son died of cancer, and he knew his son had cancer. So Brian McKnight is a terrible human being. I'm not defending him. I'm saying Brian McKnight would probably tell you, it's more complicated than that. My kids were manipulated, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So your stance should apply to Brian McKnight. If you're not going to speak on people in their family drama or people in their children drama because, you don't do it, then it shouldn't only apply to Roc Nation and his personalities. It should apply to everyone, but it doesn't, and that's the problem. So it went from, I guess, Joe don't speak on people and their children to apparently Desiree Perez ain't famous enough to speak on, all right? The Executive of the Year winner ain't famous enough for the Joe Budden podcast to speak on.
I hate this gotcha moment.
Not no gotcha moment,
that don't
bro.
make no sense.
It ain't no gotcha
Brian
moment,
McKnight
Joe.
wanted nothing to do with his kids. Ain't claiming his kids even in death freeze. Please leave me alone right now.
Talking about
Brian McKnight and Desiree Perez are not the same thing.
I didn't say they're the same.
Then why the are we talking about Brian McKnight?
Sometimes we don't even want that. Like, come on, bro.
That's hilarious.
Go ahead, Mark.
I think that's hilarious.
Go ahead,
What do they have to do with what I was saying?
It has nothing to do with nothing, Joe. Go ahead, Mark, please.
Freeze.
Joe, you wrong, bro. You would have been better off just saying, you know what, you right. Maybe I have a bias towards this. Maybe the fans are right. Maybe I'm being a hypocrite. You've been better off saying that. Maybe I'm being a hypocrite. I did talk about Brian McKnight and his kids, but the reason why I don't want to talk about her and her situation is because I don't want to have to face the repercussions of what may happen. But you want to dance around it. This is what, and then, again, I don't like academics, but I have to agree with academics. A lot of y'all big creators don't do this. Y'all don't be out here calling people out. And I think Joe does live his life by, is the risk worth more than the reward? But at the same time, you used to be non-PC. Now you PC. 100%. So I understand why he said that. But at the same time, I understand why Ice said that. But how would I say this? I think Joe, he's in a tough situation, in a tough space, because he has to kind of address it, and he really don't want to, because he's afraid that people might be listening, or it could be anything. It could be anything, the reason why he don't want to. You know what I'm saying? He could have sponsorships with them. It could be anything. Who knows?
I think you're right. I think we do talk about kids, and I think you're
we
right.
do. That's all I'm saying.
Right. But I think it's important, though. So I think a better statement might be that it's certain kinds of conversations we have and certain kinds we don't. For me, one thing is it just about this person's business, or does it advance a bigger story? Like, for example, the only reason Vanessa Bryant was interested in me today was because we had a whole conversation that was bigger, right? That was bigger than her. So that even after we knew the story wasn't true, it was still worth talking about. To me, Brian McKnight's story is worth talking about because of all the shit that comes with parenting and children. Also, he's on social media talking about his kids too, which is different than Dez, who's not on camera saying, "Hey, this thing happened to me." So I think that's different too. So for me, and
You sound like you dancing around the whole thing. It was a simple thing, bro. What are you explaining? Why are you trying to explain it? The man said that he don't talk on people's kids and he got proven wrong. Simple as that. Because he does talk on people and their kids. He do. There's plenty of episodes where Joe spoke on people and their kids. Not me. And whether we talking about negative or positive, we ain't saying that. We saying that. Do you speak on people and their children? Yes, you do, Joe Buttons. Yes, you do. Joe Budden without the S. Yes, you do. So stop playing this game. Stop being a coward.
And the dead story to me is only interesting if we're going to report
on it.
I agree. And I don't think that's what we do here.
Y'all sit on that podcast and gossip with no restrictions about everybody else's stuff. Now, all of a sudden, when it comes to a particular person, all of a sudden there's different rules of, man, when we talk about a story, man, we talk about the bigger point. The story got to have a real meaning. We got to be able to psychoanalyze the depth of, man, cut it out, bro. Those rules only apply to certain people. And I feel like the fans is watching this and they were getting angry, which is why a lot of backlash came from this, because they understand, bro, they're being BS, bro. Like, it's nonsense. What do you mean? You're not going to talk about this story because what? Like, the story has to have a deeper meaning? And if you talk on this story, it feels like it's not a big story. You guys are reporting. Of course y'all report on things. Y'all talk about things that haven't been confirmed. Y'all talk about things that aren't really a big in-depth story. But this story is an in-depth story. This story does have a bigger meaning. This is a story of a woman who is trying to silence creators because they were speaking on something that she felt is unfavorable to her. Sending copyright strikes, using DMCA, using big attorneys to terrorize creators. That's not a big enough story for you guys, right? That's not a... Cut it out, bruh. Or her daughter suing her, accusing her of similar things that get ties back to Tory Lanez and Megan Thee Stallion. It's like, come on, man. They can't make it any more obvious here, bruh.
That's true. That's true. I've been seeing this from the Joe Budden podcast. They do make it very, very obvious that they're biased. And I just don't understand why they don't say that. He could say, listen, because he said it in the beginning in the disclaimer. The thoughts and opinions, he said it in the disclaimer. So all you got to do is say, look, I don't speak on Desiree Perez because I got a close relationship with her in Rock Nation. And I don't want to speak on that. That's it. That's it. But I have to say it, if you're a journalist, then you kind of got to speak on it. And I know it might hurt some people's feelings, but you got to do what you got to do. That's your job.
I don't know if the checks is clearing. I don't know if the threats is coming in, but this is out of control.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So I do think there's a distinction.
But there is a conversation there on how far are you willing to go to protect your child. Or to protect your children. That's a conversation.
Yeah, we could have that conversation, but I'm saying I don't think it's... But the narrative on the internet is like, y'all are running from that story. It's like, well, that's not a story that I think needs to be told. Me personally.
The narrative on the internet is anything Hov/Rock Nation related, we won't touch.
Hov got sued and that's not true. Yeah, right.
That's just...
That's the narrative, but y'all won't touch it. Y'all handle it with kitty gloves. Look what y'all doing right now. Y'all talking about y'all talking around the subject, but y'all not actually talking about the actual subject. You know what I'm saying? Y'all arguing about around the subject, but you're not arguing about the subject. It's crazy.
That's not true.
But that's the narrative. They make it seem like we all up here, we claim Hovengers, we love Hov, et cetera, so we're afraid of Hov. We can't say anything.
I'm unfamiliar.
That's it.
I'm unfamiliar with the story, but is the story like something that should not have, it's not meant for public consumption and just it got leaked or whatever?
No, it's on the news. No, it's on the news. It's out.
I understand that,
the daughter sued her. It's out.
Got it.
Yeah. I just don't think to me, it's not about the music business. It's not about black culture. It's just a story about this person who happens to be famous. If were she not famous, we'd have no interest in that story. That to me is why we don't talk about it.
The only reason.
Man, if you don't get out of here with that, Lamont, come on, bro. Cut it out. Cut it out, bro. Cut it out. You bugging out for saying something like that. That's crazy. Come on. That's even like she's not famous enough. she's not famous enough. That's crazy, man. That is crazy, man. That's crazy. That's crazy. That's crazy. It's crazy.
People care about it is because she's affiliated with Rock Nation.
Yes,
I'm sure
Right.
there's a
I was
lot
about to
of
say, because she's not necessarily famous.
She's an exec somewhere.
That's it.
Like,
That's all. That's the.
This is disgusting. This is nasty stuff, man. This is nasty. She's not necessarily that famous. Why would we all come? Yo, listen, man. I don't know what exactly this woman has over the entire industry, man. I don't know what she has over like our favorite podcasters. I don't know what it is, bruh. What do this woman have over? Bro, does she know like where y'all skeletons are? Because when it comes to the industry, all these dudes are part of the secret society, and they all have nasty secrets. They all have secrets, you know, that if it comes out, we'll probably look at them a little differently. Now, I don't know. I don't think Joe Budden is a part of the secret society, but Joe has been a part of the music industry for a while now. And the one thing we know, man, is you don't reach a certain level of success without giving up something. Rather, is a piece of your integrity, a piece of that butt. You got to give up something when it comes to obtaining a certain level of success in the music industry, in a secret society of the music industry. So I don't know what it is, bro. She has to have something on these people. No way they sit up here and just play in our faces like this, bro. She's not even that famous. What? In terms of hip.
Yeah, that's crazy. She got a whole crazy backstory. Her not being famous is wild for them not to say. For them to say that is crazy.
Pop media and relevance. Who's more relevant than her this week? Man, y'all let me know in the comment section, man. What do you guys think about this?
Yeah, man. I ain't feeling that. All that keep on moving the goalposts, Joe. You gotta chill with that, bro. You've been doing that for a minute, man. When it comes to certain people, you know what I'm saying. But you was one of the biggest advocates of speak what you say, what you want to say, and you even said it a couple of times that you ain't never gonna have people tell you what you can and can't say, and you was always gonna speak on something. And it's like, I get why people are upset, because they're looking for you. And it's the same thing with the Diddy situation. They want to hear how you feel about it, because you are one of the people who are very vocal about stuff. And you do, I would say, to a certain extent, matter of fact, a whole lot, you do shape the culture of podcasting, hip-hop podcasting. You are the top guy. But you can't be playing this game as if you don't have, she's not as popular or whatever. But hey, man, listen, it is what it is. He got his reasons. I'm just saying, you a coward, bro. Simple as that. But yeah. All right, man. So I'm gonna give a word of inspiration. Never use love as a weapon against someone. Never use their feelings as a weapon against them, because you never know, it might come back and haunt you. The pendulum does swing both ways. So if you're using a person's feelings and emotions against them, or to the point where you're taking advantage of that person, then understand that it can come back and happen to you. Karma is a bitch. So treat people the way you want to be treated. If you want to be treated bad, then don't treat them at all. So, all right, man. I'll see y'all on the next one. Peace. Bye.